Hello, welcome. You should have already watched the introduction video, and now we are going to start our first steps in getting from the QuickBooks email up to viewing your set of books and having it set up correctly. So I'm going to walk you through step by step. The first thing you should do is wait for an email from your instructor or from your school. Somehow this email comes to your inbox if you are a student, and you will be able to open this to set it up. Now, if you are a small business and you are not a student and you are just setting up your QuickBooks, you would go through the process of filling out your name, email, phone number through the QuickBooks website. They probably need your payment verification set up first, but if you are a student, you'll get an email that invites you to your set of books. So this is how we're going to do it. I had sent myself an email so I can walk through the process with you all, and that is exactly what we're going to do. So first, we're going to open up this email. Obviously, your instructor will have a different name or your different school, but there is this link. Your link is probably going to be bright blue. I have a little security check before I click any link on my browser, so that's why my green check mark shows up. But this would say, this is a message from your instructor, and it will tell you the steps of what you need to do. So first, I know I need to accept the invitation link, and then I need to sign up for my QuickBooks account. Again, as a student, this is completely free. If you're a small business, you probably have already submitted in your payment information, but you still need a username and password. I suggest your email and a unique password that is not used with any other site. That's a great practice to get in, is creating unique, strong passwords and keeping that in a safe place, such as a password safe. There's different ones you can use. Number 3 gives us instructions on how we should name the company. So it's going to be first names company. In my example, this would be Megan's company. It'll show us that for the company description, we need accounting. What would you like to do in QuickBooks? What's your role at the business? How do you want to keep track? So this is exactly what I'm going to walk you through. So we need to start here with accepting the invite. It is safe. And then this is where you will sign in at, and I'm going to pause the video here, sign in with my username and password, and I will resume the video when I'm back. All right, so I have logged in. I did have a little trouble, and I want to highlight to your attention because oftentimes this is a complaint I hear from people. If you go to accept the invitation and it kind of gives you a blank screen, come back to the email. You're going to want to double click on it and open link in an incognito window. Some reason, I don't know why, it usually QuickBooks likes Google Chrome or incognito windows to open up the invites. So that's what I had to do. So you'll go there, you'll make your username and your password, and it will log you in, and then it'll bring you to a screen similar to this, and it will probably just have one option for you to select on. And as this is a test user ID and password account that I have used before, that is why I have 2 accounts here, but we are opening up the Study QuickBooks account. And this is where we set up our business information initially, and it's going to ask us several questions, and this is where some people get tripped over of like, what should I select, what applies to me. Ideally, we skip over what we can skip over, but some items on here it really needs an answer and we can't skip over them. QuickBooks does this. Sometimes it tries to upsell you if you are a real business owner of like, these are extra features you need in QuickBooks Online, which may or may not apply, and it's a way that it tries to automatically set up QuickBooks that it thinks it's right for you in terms of chart of accounts and so forth. So we have to answer several questions. So again, skip what you can, but if you can't skip, we have to answer it out. So what do you call your business? Remember back in our email, we were given a naming structure to use. So let me hop back to the email. It's going to say your first names and company. So I'm going to say Megan's, company. This creates uniformity for the instructor to grade your work if needed. Obviously, again, if you are a small business owner, you name the company what you need to name it. Next. From here, how have you been managing your finances? Ideally, this is something we could skip. I'm going to select nothing. I'm just getting started. But again, if you are a small business owner and you need to do a desktop conversion or a different software conversion or an Excel upload, there's options here for you as well. But for students, I would say nothing, just getting started. Describe your work. I'm going to say consulting. It's pretty vague. It's service-based. This is a great type of business to practice bookkeeping on because it is service-based. We're not dealing with products. And next, how long has it been in business? Let's say under a year. What kind of business is this? Is it an LLC? You can say yes, and I would say sole proprietor. If you would like to select I'm not sure and I'm not sure, that is a fine option as well. It's not creating a real business for you. It's just, I want to show you a set of books that you are most likely going to be using, and you will see LLC, sole proprietors the most in small business accounting. What is your industry? Once again, I'll probably say consulting. Give you a lot of options. Can't find one that fits, use consulting. Next. What is your main role at Megan's company? We will say that we are the bookkeeper or accountant. Again, back here, I didn't put accounting for company description. Your instructor's directions may be slightly different. This does not drastically change how QuickBooks is set up. You're still going to be able to follow all the instructions through the process of the rest of the steps. If you put in something else for the description, it just does create some uniformity. What would you like to do in QuickBooks? What's your role at the business? Let's select accountant. I should have referenced the email more. Is this your main source of income? It doesn't really matter if this is yes or no, but I'm going to say no. Who works at the business? We will say employees, but if it tries to offer us payroll services, we are going to skip that. See, this is where it's like, oh, you have an employee, let's try to do this. No, I do not want to add payroll. What apps do you use? Skip for now. What do you want to do at QuickBooks? What did the email say? What would you select? All the options. Will you accept payments? Let's see what all we can. What do you want to do first? Track receipts and expenses. Next. Skip for now. Next. There's a QuickBooks app that's great for receipt tracking. All right. After so many questions, we are able to finally be into our set of books. It's going to ask if you want to take a quick tour. That's kind of what I'm here for. QuickBooks does have a lot more resources than I have. You're more than welcome to take the tour. I will show you everything that you need to know. I'm going to skip this tour, but I'll give you a brief overview. First things first, I would go over to your gear icon. From here in the bottom right, make sure it says switch to business view. And I would not click on it if it says exactly this. Let's leave it. If it says switch to accountant view, yes, you need to select this link and then it changes the view, because if you're in business view, it will show you some different options. I will show you really quick. I don't like working in business view. It's just not the way I learned. But over here, everything is labeled a little bit differently than how it is for the accountant view. So make sure we are in accountant view. Great job. From here, all of your settings are going to stem from the gear icon and accountant settings. This does everything from changing the business name if you put that in there wrong, to how you want your invoices, how you want the date formatted, what currency we're working in. Sorry, it's a little slow. Not quite sure why. This would be where your email is. Billing and subscription, if you are a student, this is free for 1 year, and so forth. You're going to be able to find a lot of different accountant settings up in here. This would be more for an advanced version of QuickBooks to get into the details of accountant settings. The way it is set up right now, I am good with, I am happy with, and we will use our QuickBooks based on that. If you want to search for a transaction and name a vendor, the search bar is very, very helpful. You just start typing in maybe the person's name or the dollar amount or the day that you are looking for, and it will pop up here. This is a fresh set of books. I don't have any names, any dollar amounts, any transactions in here, so I can't search for anything at the moment. You're more than welcome to add in a logo. And then we have our left-hand side of how we get to everything. When you first open QuickBooks, it's going to take you to the dashboard. I rarely work from the dashboard view. I am mostly in banking, sales, a lot in reports and accounting. Those are typically where most of our tasks are done and is going to be in those four. If you need a shortcut, this plus new button is a great place to have most of your tasks into one place. So if you click on this, it will drop open places where you can enter in invoices, where you will receive payments. Maybe there's a credit memo for your customer if they overpaid or you're giving them a credit back, as well as giving them sales receipt if they're not paying via invoice of QuickBooks. Other things are vendors, so you can manually enter in expenses, maybe for something that is not linked to credit cards or bank accounts. QuickBooks does have the ability to write checks. Obviously, in an office setting, that can be connected with a printer that prints checks and actually print out the checks from QuickBooks, as well as enter bills, pay bills. Maybe a vendor gives you a credit back. Payroll options, we will go through a manual payroll option. We're not going to run actual payroll through QuickBooks, but that is a pretty common way I see people running payroll. And then there's other things such as a bank deposit, which is where we work with undeposited funds. Again, that's kind of an advanced level learning for QuickBooks. Any kinds of transfers between banks. And journal entries, we will work with a few journal entries with our debits and credits. And that's kind of all that I work with in the new. I want to show you a couple other things of where items are. We're not doing any other tasks in QuickBooks right now. That's going to be for the next lesson. Once you are in this screen and you have gone through the setup process, you are good to go. Other things to note is your chart of accounts. This is a very popular topic in accounting, is your chart of accounts, because they need to be set up right so they are viewed on the correct statement, whether that's the balance sheet or the profit and loss. You can see them all, edit them all, add them all, and activate them, whatever you need. So for these purposes, this chart of accounts is very extensive, very long. Even a lot of my customers do not, or clients do not have this many chart of accounts. This is very detailed, but some business owners also like the very detailed amount. For example, advertising and marketing has listing fees and social media and website ads. That's a lot of breakdown. I would maybe break it down in terms that they use the most likely or most commonly that I see with my clients that I work with is going to be Google ads versus website ads, or paper flyers and Google ads. But I probably wouldn't break it down in the way like this. So there are a lot of chart of accounts that provides more detail than we need. But this is where our chart of accounts resides. Also under accounting is our reconciliation screen. And this will be helpful when we have accounts up in here and we need to reconcile the amounts. Let's say get started, close out the windows, and then you choose which account we want to reconcile. We don't have any bank accounts set up in QuickBooks yet, so this is a little more difficult. And then you will have your banking screen with a live client, or if you are a small business, this is where you will do a lot of your transaction categorization. If you are a student, we don't have a live bank feed to connect to, but this is a very popular place where we also can add in our rules, tags, and receipts. Sales, you have your invoices under here. I'll teach you how to write invoices, and expenses is where those are added out. You can also add in vendors under your expenses or customers under your sales. So those are kind of the main tabs we're going to be working in. And I will see you all in the next video. That's all I have for this first lesson, getting us started from the email into our set of books. First thing we're going to tackle is putting income or money into the business, and then we'll learn how to spend that money or put in expenses to show a decrease in money. And then we'll have a few other fun steps after that as well. So I will see you in the next lesson.